welcome to my DIY and sewing channel, CaitMakes. In this week's video, I am going to be doing a little mini garden makeover. So this is the space that we're currently starting with. This is a rental house in the California high desert, and we're only here for a couple years. So I want to make this as whimsical and magical as I can while still staying on a small budget and keeping in mind that I'm moving in a year. So all the DIYs and everything are going to be very rental friendly and things that I can either take out easily or move with. As you can see here, we have a bunch of barbecue equipment because that is one of the things that we use this space for constantly. I love to have my coffees out here in the morning, but we also barbecue a lot. So even though we're only going to be here a year, I think it's definitely worth revamping this space. So come along with me as I venture out into the heat and get some much needed little supplies to make my whimsical dreams come true. Let's go. My first stop was actually a little antique mall, and I had so much fun in there. I always love this section, especially for sewing and things. For the sewing girlies that watch this channel, look at this beautiful singer. Oh my goodness, I wanted to take it home even though I have no idea how to fix it or if it works. And then I hit this little garden section, and looking back at this footage, I have no idea why I didn't buy so many more things in there, but I did find a couple of treasures. Sadly, I did not take this particular one home, even though it was so beautiful, and I regret it. And then I went to about 3 or 4 different thrift stores. This last one that I went to, I found a couple of super cute cottagey plates that I just had to take home with me, and both of them were incomplete sets, so I didn't feel guilty about using them in the garden and not as settings. But yeah, let's see what I got. The AC is very loud out here, so I might do this as a voiceover later. But I'm going to go ahead and start making some changes. So it's already turning into evening here, and I just want to get a few things hung up, start doing a couple decorative touches that are going to make it feel more whimsical and lovely out here, and then tomorrow we can start on some DIYs. I absolutely love these vintage gardening tools that I found at the thrift shop, and I think it'd be so fun and useful to have them hanging up as a decorative piece, but also as something that's easy to grab and use. Okay, so part of my solution for this messy area with the potting soil is I got this container here that I think I'm going to put it in, and I'll put a little scoop so that I can easily get in and out. I kind of want to spray paint this blue black or something because I just really don't like this bright blue, but I think it will do the job for now. So I'm going to go ahead and transfer as much as I can from that bag into here, and then I'll put the leftover bits in my garage, and I think that will be a little less chaotic out here. And there we go, some soil storage. Other than it being in a bag, that will be much easier for me to use than having to lift up one of these giant bags every time. I found this one for less than $10 at a local store. Everything online was so expensive, I felt, for like a plastic bin. So I'm going with that. The ones that could hold like an entire bag like this were like $50, and that's just not worth it to me. So I'm just gonna store the rest of what's in this bag in my garage. Be right back. Okay, so in fact, the blue of that lid is driving me crazy. So I went and looked at my tools and I found this. So this is a textured spray. I have used the terracotta version of this, which I really, really liked. I was hoping I still had some of that left. I don't, but I think that this will still do a good job of blending this into the environment a little better. I sprayed this onto, like straight onto a plastic pot last time to turn like a black plastic pot into something a little more exciting, and it worked really well and didn't really peel up even with watering the plants and everything, so I think it should be good to go. I don't have to like sand the plastic or anything. You'll be able to see it more and more as it dries, but it just goes on and makes it look like stone. It has the really interesting like texture and little like different colored speckles, especially like the little black speckles, I think make it look very much like stoneware. I'm thinking that this guy would look really cool if I put it up there to kind of hang in this sort of empty corner. I need to get another drapey plant for that, which I don't currently have, and they didn't have any at my local store, so it might be a minute for that one. And yeah, I just kind of rearranged some plants, and I think that maybe one more whimsical touch could be a cute little hanging sign for like the center of this garden bed. So maybe we'll start painting that next. Okay, next plan of action is to try and make a little garden sign. So I just sketched out kind of what I want on there, but I want to go ahead and cut this shape before I spend a bunch of time painting it, just in case it cracks or breaks or something, because that would be much more sad if I spend a bunch of time painting it and then cut it. So wish me luck as I cut this. Okay, so I'm going to be using a jigsaw with a fine finish wood blade, and I'll have my gloves and my glasses on, and we should be good to go. Okay, so I have finished my little outdoor sign, which I think turned out super cute. I have never tried to do a fairy before, but I'm not too upset about it. I think she turned out okay. And yeah, I think it's fun and whimsical, which is what we're going for. And now I just have to figure out how I'm going to hang it from that shepherd's hook. Just need to create some sort of handle basically for it to hang from. I suppose I could try the command strips first and see how they hold up with the heat. These things are pretty strong. It might work. I'm just not sure. Like I said, it's crazy hot out there, guys. And I want the hook to be facing down. Back of this board doesn't look great for sure, but that's okay. I used it as a quick sketch and it got pretty beat up. So I'll just make my little loop and then I'll twist the extra around. And there we go. It works. As long as the command strip doesn't melt right off the back, we should be good. And if it does, I'll find a new solution. But this works. We have a little fairy garden sign. Let's go hang it up. Okay, so I had this little planter inside and it's not doing great. I really want to revamp the whole thing. So it has this little gnome house, this cute little lily pond, and a tiny little gnome. There we go. Maybe now you can see him. Yeah, I have this little succulent in there that is surviving but not thriving inside, and since I live in California, succulents love it outside here. And I just so happened to have another pot that was out here that had a bit of a struggle. Our second pot is this one, which has this big succulent in it that was actually a gift from one of my friends. And sadly, I had another one in here, the same kind, but it was even bigger, and it flowered and was so beautiful. But then unfortunately, what happens a lot of times with succulents is once they flower, they die. So I think I was maybe supposed to trim off the pretty flowers in order to keep it alive, but basically this pot is now half empty. So I'm thinking that if I combine the two pots and kind of turn this one into my little fairy garden, it'll look great over by the fence and underneath that sign. So let's create a little fairy garden in a pot. Okay, so I think I want it to be like this, where this is kind of coming towards the front and my little gnome house is at the back. And I think I also want to add some more soil to this using my new system here. Then I just went and collected some pebbles. Let's see if I can't make a little walkway for him. Alright, I think that's looking pretty nice so far. I'm going to go ahead and move it where it's going to go and see if I want to adjust anything when it's actually in the right spot.
And I decided it needed a couple more plants, and I had a couple more succulents inside that weren't doing great, that I think will be happier outside. So let's add those as well. And one final touch before I call it a night. Alright, time to fix that sad empty planter from the beginning of this video and fill it up with something new. I did order a new coconut liner, and it luckily came with two because the size I ordered wasn't quite right. It was a bit too small, so I cut the second one and it worked just fine. So this is the only other plant that I bought for this makeover. Everything else is just cuttings or things that I had around. And so yeah, I got a string of pearls here, and then the sweet potato plant that I planted at the beginning grew roots so fast in just those couple days, so I'm planting a cutting from that. And then also I have a snake plant inside that had some cuttings ready, so I'm adding that to this planter as well. And all are fairly drapey, so I think they'll end up being really pretty as they grow out. And next up, I have a little bee hotel that was over on the other side of our yard and wasn't being used at all because I think it was too far from our plants. So hopefully we'll have some bees move in now. Next up, let's create a whimsical bird bath from the dishware that I thrifted. The tools that I'm going to be using are this Type Bond Quick and Thick multi-surface glue. It's waterproof and FDA approved and everything, so it should be very safe. And then I'm also going to be using a glass candlestick that I had previously painted black and that I'm going to be repainting black with this Rust-Oleum spray paint. And I think together it should create a very cute bird bath, or could be a very cute bird feeder if you don't have one already.
And then the littler guy.
It is painful for me to show you this area. It's such a eyesore and has been such an issue for me. It has just become like a little bit of a dumping ground. It has a lot of really functional and useful things that we use out there, but it's just on the ground and so messy, and is a big reason why I didn't love spending time out in this garden. So I'm so excited to finally be getting it all cleaned up and organized and put together in a way that looks pretty. And a big help for that was finding this little shelf system on Facebook Marketplace. This was the most expensive thing I bought for this, and it was about $40, but I think very worth it for the huge effect it had on this space. In general, a big issue with this garden was just that everything was on the floor. It really needed some different levels for your eyes to look around and see something beautiful. So adding that shelf really helped. And then the final touch before we do the final reveal is I wanted to add some height over in this corner. And why are plant stands so expensive? So I ended up finding this little metal garbage can at my local store for like $6, and I'm using that as a plant stand instead. So it's not quite as pretty, but very cost effective and gets me that height that I wanted, and I think made a big difference. Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope it inspired you to make whatever outdoor space you have just a little bit more whimsical and magical, even if you're in a rental place, even if you only have a small space to work with, and even if you're only working with a tiny budget. Everything I did in this video ended up being about $130, which I think is super reasonable for what a big difference I feel that it made out there. And I really mostly used things that I already had and just got as creative as I could with them. So yeah, I absolutely love the way this space feels now, and I hope that it inspires you, like I said, to go out there and make your space feel the way you want it to feel. So yeah, thank you so much for watching. I hope you have a wonderful day and a wonderful week, and I will see you guys in my next video.